Community.
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 Engaging.
Mateship. Lifestyle.
Friendship.
Friendship.
Welcoming.
What I call home.
Fun.
Challenging.
Challenging.
Dedication.
Fitness.
Strong.
Competitive.
Success.
Great.
Started out, I think, in the late 80s. There's about 5 or 6 of us that were all aiming to do the Ironman, and Ironman was sort of just starting to starting to take off. So we had a bit of a training group, and then from there we discussed about maybe forming a club. But there was a few clubs that was just sort of new in Victoria, so we got together and basically got it incorporated and set it all up as a training base for Bayside people, and it took off. Within the first year or two we had around 100 or so members, and it became pretty popular. Quite a social club as well, and lots of fun. Essentially, some of the key people that have been involved in the club over the years have stuck by it, and you always know, as long as you've got a core group of people there with the good, the interests of a club and a community-based organisation in mind, then it's always going to be popular. And as we were saying before, this area of Melbourne is just such a beautiful place to train. We're so lucky with the beach road and the beautiful coastline. So you just got to add the location and off she goes.
What started things off is that Julie Teddy was the phys ed teacher at Kilbreda College, and Julie was into the game, and my younger daughter was quite a good runner, quite a good swimmer. So and my involvement in the school swim team resulted in Julie asking Fiona would her dad like to help teach her swimming, because she was giving away heaps in every swim but still getting placed in all the top state events. My role was almost entirely that of swim coach at the inaugural meeting down in Rosella Road, Mordialloc. People put together, and this is why the club should be formed, and what about a swim coach? Oh, Graham Mills does some swim coaching. How about him? Graham, would you accept? Yeah, right, that was it. Oh, many things have changed. One, the number of people competing. They have made some improvements to some of the rules and regulations which were a bit hard to follow, but I think the technical skill of the coaches is vastly superior to what it used to be. Previously, most coaches would try to cover all 3 sports, and they do 2 of them well and the third one terribly. I think the main thing has been the achievement of some of the athletes in particular. For example, I was Julie Teddy's coach when she won an age group teams gold medal.
President for a short time. I was actually the running coordinator for a long time. So I used to take all the Tuesday nights and coordinate the aquathons on the Thursdays and do all those sorts of things. Did some bike educational skills with people as well, so people are getting introduced into the sport rather than the more serious athlete. Those days I was single, and for me it was an extended family. Just getting there, coaching people, going for a ride with my mates on a Saturday, and just enjoying the general camaraderie of the sport. Results weren't as important, albeit they were always competitive, wanted to beat each other. Don't worry about everyone else in the race, it was only about the people you knew. It's a bonding thing. You're there to help each other, and during the week you do everything you can for each other, but on a Sunday race day, it's all about you. And 10 minutes after you finish, well, then you're on the side cheering everyone else along as well. And for me, life has always been balanced. It's about racing hard, having fun, not about being too serious about either. Now the kids are just an extension of that, and being home a bit more often gives the time to do something like homebrew, which is the best of both worlds. Now, obviously being a bigger club, it has a lot more capabilities to cross over to different people who it probably didn't have earlier. But I'd say, for me the thing was about the friends and the family aspect, but now I think widely anyone who's doing triathlon is going to find what they want, depending on which section they want, if it's pure training or if they want to have some camaraderie and form a smaller group and go off on a training ride every Saturday with the same people. Those sort of attributes are still there.
I was probably one of the early members of the club. I joined there around about early 90s, and there was very few members, and I jumped into the treasurer role right away, and I've kept that role for 20 odd years, and I got a certificate from the Tri Vic about that. And then I was also club president for 3 years about 5-6 years ago. Yeah, competing all the way through. I'm not a fantastic athlete, but I've done 5 Ironman and built up from small triathlon to the long distance, and really enjoyed it. Just kept the fitness going. That's about it. Just trying to be competitive in my age group, and that's how it goes. Yeah, we developed from a very small club to something a lot more professional, I suppose. Now where social media's come on board, we've got a lot more information about our training sessions and what's been happening in terms of results and club members' achievements and that sort of stuff. So probably one of the biggest clubs in Melbourne, and just going from strength to strength.
Awesome. How do you go on social media?
I'm useless.
So TaylorMade started with Jeremy, as we know, Jeremy Taylor, and essentially, a bunch of mates. Probably about 96 I joined, and Jeremy you may have heard from somebody, he advertised through what was TM Leisure then. They were running a series back at Port Melbourne. It was a twilight series on Wednesday evenings. So there was actually, Tri Vic started a program at that stage called Women in Sport or Women in Triathlon. So through that, Jeremy was advertising through the results, because of course they were paper-based results all sent in the mail at that stage because we didn't have the internet. So with that, a little flyer arrived with my results after my very first race on the Wednesday evening, and it said, triathlon training, come and join us. Jeremy is such an engaging person. He's got a beautiful personality. And he was very, very understanding of novices and females, and just worked really well with everybody, and everyone just, I think it's partly the type of person that he attracted and retained, and they brought along other like people, and everybody just managed to meld and work really well together. Hardly anyone worried about what their times were or what the real results were, etc. It's just all about everyone high-fiving and going, "Way, we've done it, isn't that awesome, let's go back and do some more." And then obviously things progressed, and people started to get a little bit more interested in times, etc. But that whole culture of nurturing, supporting, encouraging remained. We continue to focus on novices and trying to bring people into the sport. That was our main objective, really. So over time, the club grew to quite a large number around. Some of those people wanted to go further and wanted to do bigger races or be, probably more competitive, etc. We started to try and develop some training along that line, which is where I sort of took up the mantle, I guess. By that stage, I'd already started coaching. The whole fabric that was holding things together was that we continued to not insist, it was just our general thoughts, our behaviours, our values were that everybody should be sort of equal and get a chance to say g'day. And so we amalgamated with Bayside in 2012, I think it was. So I was president of TaylorMade at that stage, and I had worked myself back into being president, I guess, with the main aim to potentially amalgamate with Bayside Tri Club.
It got out that my background in running, I got to a reasonably high level. I was ranked in Australia in the 1500 mile, and I'd had a scholarship to America for 4 years in the 60s, an athletic scholarship. So my background, I wasn't at the top level, but I was close enough to the top to sort of be on the tail end of running with people like Herb Elliott and Ron Clark and these sort of people. So I was good enough to be in their races. So they got wind of that and just asked me if I'd help them with the running side of it. Initially I just took running sessions, and then eventually progressed to where I got coaching qualifications for triathlon. My main speciality in coaching was running. And I used to take sessions, a couple of sessions a week, And as I got more and more involved with the coaching, I got less and less involved in competition. So I found I couldn't coach the way I wanted to if I was training at the same time. I couldn't see the runners, and I couldn't comment on how they were running or what their stride and so forth. So the biggest thing I got out of coaching was coaching beginners. I really got a kick out of taking, especially girls, and often we'd get girls in their 30s that sort of wanted to have a go for the first time, really tentative. And that was a real kick to get girls, some of them older than that, to do their first triathlon. And I know some of them are still going. They're kicking on, and they're still with Bayside now, doing triathlons at quite a high level, so which is really nice. I can't speak enough of Jeremy because he was tailor-made for so long, and then eventually we had to incorporate and become fully fledged as a club with the constitution and all that. And he gradually pulled back because of the work he'd done earlier. The name stuck, and will be forever us as tailor-made. So.
One of the biggest things that happened while I was in that role was a merger with TaylorMade, which was funny. We used to see them swimming when we were doing a swim session. I'm like, who's this swimming in our part of the bay? I found it was another squad, and I mean, it just made sense that if there was two groups doing the same thing in the same place, that we might as well share resources and try and do it better together. So that's kind of how it all came about. I often say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person, and I've got a pretty busy life, so probably for my wife and a few others, they're like, why are you taking on something else? But I kind of have a philosophy, if you want to see change, if you want to be part of something, you've got to be able to put your money where your mouth is. So that's how I first landed on the committee. They needed people to get involved. I thought, I just had another point of view to offer, and did that for a few years. And when they needed a new president, again, I thought if you want to try and influence change, you got to sort of man up and do some of the work and help with some of the decision making. So it was super rewarding. Obviously it's a club filled with great people, and we're able to see some really good things happen during that time. The club got a bit more professional, offered a whole host of services to members that they'd never had before. It really went from being a group of people that trained together to a club that really offered great value to people that wanted to be in the sport. How's life changed?
Yeah, I guess, I was really keen to stay involved, but at that point in time, I was involved in Rotary. I was the president of a major nursing association. My business was going crazy. I'd had a baby. I had a fair bit on my plate and needed to sort of probably exit out of some of those things that were discretionary. And so, I also think it's great for new people to get involved, for other people to put their money where their mouth is and make a change and contribute to the club. So it was a good time to sort of move out of that. I haven't raced much since then, so as you can see, I'm trying to get back into it. But, I still stay connected with everyone there, and I love what's happening. They've got more people than ever before, doing some really awesome things. One of the biggest things I've seen change is, since I've started exercising a bit more myself, I went down for a ride with Bayside. I still get the emails as a member, saw when it was on. There was like 100 or 150 people there, and I thought I must have been with the wrong group, or that there was some special event. But apparently, they're the sort of numbers that turn up to some of the group rides. So, from a club that maybe had 60 or 70 members, and a lot of them, weren't necessarily always training, to groups like that on the road, just unbelievable, which I think, obviously is a great reflection, not on me, but on the people, before and after me. And, I think holds Bayside, as a triathlon area in really good stead for the future.
Things I'm most proud about are setting up the club for the future, for the financial viability of the club, our membership growth, which was about 400% in the time I was president, and the participation by our female memberships. That's where Bayside can provide a lot of support. If you're new or inexperienced, there's guidance and support available to you through coaching and the club and members So it's about preparing for a race, but it's also about making people feel welcome as a club environment as well.
So I guess I'm a head coach, look after the coaching coordination for the club. And I've done that since about 2010. Further, when I first got involved was early 2000s, and it was a very just community club. People would rock up, do some training together. Some old timers, you guess you'd call them, would lead the sessions. Had some really good swim sessions, and I sort of faded in and out of the club for the next 6 or 7 years. And then when I wanted to get involved in coaching, I approached the committee then to take on the role, because I think the club didn't have a coach, and a lot of training squads were coming involved and sort of taking over triathlon. And I thought there was an opportunity for the club to grow again. I think the last 6 years have been great for triathlon as a whole. My time at the club has just been, it's like the perfect storm. We had GSAC, these facilities here, where we got a really good opportunity to establish ourselves as a training club here. We had Ironman Melbourne come on board, and triathlon as a sport has just grown in that time as well. So the number one thing, I guess, is location and training facilities. Like the amount of people that ride Beach Road, that live in the Bayside area, the sporty and active is ideal. Our facilities here at GSAC, a great outdoor 50-metre pool. Our club rooms, not a lot of clubs have got club rooms. And we run our Tandringham Athletics Club. But I think that's really the foundation for it. What makes the club great is just the members, and that if a new person comes to a club, the other members are so willing to talk to them, make them feel welcome. There's not an elitism which can sort of exist within triathlon. It's just a really down-to-earth club, even though you've got some very, very good athletes within that club.
I've only been in the role 12 months, just on 12 months. So obviously we've spent a lot of time trying to get all the fundamentals in place, bring on board a whole new team, and just trying to work our way through what do we want to do and how do we want to strategise the club for the next 5-10 years, and where do we want to see this club go to, I guess. So we're up at now 500 members, which is amazing, and one of the biggest clubs in Victoria. So for us, I think now it's more about how do we sustain the growth, but also I think introduce more females into the process. So because it was something that I 2 years ago would never ever have even tried or looked at, but one day standing at Ironman decided, oh yeah, I'm going to do one of those, and joined this club. Everyone has just been amazing, and we've certainly got a lot of great friends out of it, and I think as a result of that I'm really keen now to give back into the club.